following program has been arranged by the Division of Game and Fish.
Here is the story of the Bluegrass State's great outdoors.
This is Kentucky Afield.
Kentucky Afield.
Welcome to Kentucky Afield.
Kentucky Afield.
More than 50 years. And still fit as a fiddle.
This is Kentucky Afield Radio. This is Ron Rohde, Kentucky Afield's first host back in 1953. Now, I'm proud to present Charlie Baglin.
You gotta love people who just want to help. They see a need, they jump in feet first. They see good in ideas, they find hope. They want to see others benefit when they may not have the wherewithal to do it on their own. We go inside outdoors with the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation, a non-profit charitable organization that has rolled up its sleeves and said, let's put learning about wildlife in reach of Kentucky kids. Next on Kentucky Afield Radio.
Deer in the headlights. Watch out, Mr. Deer.
Singing with your kids in the car is one way to keep deer hazard season in mind. And should a deer catch your headlights, flash those lights, sound your horn, break its concentration to scurry it along.
There's one.
And where there's one, there may be 2 or 3 more. Deer hazard season runs through November, so be wise behind the wheel while nature runs its course. A message from Fish and Wildlife and the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety.
Tomorrow morning, I have a 6:45 meeting. It's with the sunrise. And those important clients, I brought them with me.
Look, Mom, a deer!
I have a feeling this day will outperform all others.
Did you see that fish? Let's go down to the lake.
It's great to be outnumbered. It's great to be outdoors.
The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. In so many ways, our work in the outdoors brings out the best in you. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Baglin. As a homeowner, I've always feared a crack in my foundation. We rely on a firm foundation. It's always better to build on a rock rather than shifting sand, the hymn says. So that paints one picture of what a foundation is. What about the financial type foundations? 501c3 charities, foundations. They support research, technology through donations. At least that's the best way to describe one, I think, that my guest on the show is in charge of. She is Rachel Crume, the Executive Director of the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
If you just walked up to somebody at the grocery, and what do you do?
Everyone really thinks I work for the department, and I don't. We're completely separate.
So they think you're part of the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Yes.
And so this foundation helps animals. I would assume that people might think that.
Yeah, I don't know. We're not like a humane society. We do habitat work, and we do work at the Salado Center, which, they have a bunch of animals, but we're not like a dog and cat rescuer, which we do get Facebook messages sometimes asking about what to do with kittens and stuff like that. But that's not our mission.
You don't do that. You're not about animals. You're about teaching about animals, as I understand it.
Yes.
Do you teach all ages?
We help with mentor hunts and like Becoming an Outdoor Woman weekend, and Annie Oakley Day is an event in Louisville that we help with, and all kinds of events throughout the state. But our main focus, and I think where myself and the majority of my board members' hearts are, is with kids. We want to give kids the opportunity to get outside and experience stuff that they've never had the opportunity to experience. So whether it's conservation camp or Salado or any other programs we help with, that is what our main focus is. And I think all my board members' drives come from, too.
You mentioned this board a couple of times. Tell me briefly about the board. How big is it? What type of folks do you have on there? What do they represent?
15 board members, and they're all across the state, although a lot of them are from Louisville and Lexington just because it's, our bigger cities. Our president is a gentleman named John Woodall, and he is an attorney out of Lexington that has 3 boys and loves to hunt and fish. And our only lady is Miss Cindy Sullivan, and she's out of Louisville, which she's well known throughout the state.
For folks who may not know Cindy, she was like HAS TV, the farm and garden plant lady.
Yes.
That question about any plant, you can call her and she'll answer that.
Yeah, you can call her on the phone and ask her these questions, and I'm like, how does she even know what I'm talking about? But she can see right through it and know exactly what I need to do, and she's great. So
suffice it to say, it sounds like their heart's in it, and their heart is also with the outdoors.
Absolutely. They want to see success. So they love the department. They love everything we do. But then they also, I guess what we all want, Charlie, anybody that I've met that works around fish and wildlife or in this industry, they just want to see like a future there. You know, you want to see kids getting involved or people that may have never experienced the outdoors, hunting or fishing or hiking or shooting sports. You just want to see it grow and that legacy be passed on. And
well, clearly then there's a fear that it wouldn't grow. And you're trying to prevent this. I don't know which way to ask it. What are you seeing that you're doing that's making a difference? Or
to start that off, we have, with a lot of help from the public, corporate sponsors, grants, our bass plate sales. The Department of Fish and Wildlife runs 3 camps, conservation camps, and the kids go. I went to Camp Wallace when I was a kid. I loved it. It was super important to me.
Camp Wallace is down in Lake Cumberland.
Right. It's just outside of Monticello on Lake Cumberland.
What are the other 2?
Camp Webb, and that's right on Grayson Lake, right outside of Grayson in the eastern part of the state. And then we have Camp Curry, and that's down on Kentucky Lake outside of Benton. You know, we didn't get to do a ton of stuff, and Camp Wallace, I think it's because it was the only camp my parents could afford, but I loved it. I spend some time down there every summer, try to spend time at each camp every summer, and I see the kids. I can tell the difference, and, you know, their brain clicking and everything, like, working together, and they're down there and they're like, oh, man, this fishing is awesome, or they get to learn to drive a boat for the first time, or...
I hate for this to sound wrong, but it's something away from a tablet or a computer game. They're not pressing a screen.
Yeah, and it's a good thing.
Like you are now. What is it you're looking for?
I'm trying to find the exact amount of children that we sent on scholarship to camp this year. Okay, so 558 kids.
That you sent to camp?
Well, not me personally, but the Fish and Wildlife Foundation.
Fish and Wildlife Foundation.
Yeah.
That was this summer?
Yeah, that was
558?
Yeah, so that was for the 2017 summer. So
what's the total number, do you know?
605,000, somewhere in that range, I think.
You said an easy 10%.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, not all of them were like full scholarships, so it's $235 to go to camp, I believe. And so some of them, you know, the parents could only come up with part of it, or grandma or whoever.
Right.
And, you know, we paid that other portion. But we do like a really big camp scholarship program on our website. People can come and read letters about why these kids want to go to camp and what they want to learn. And
I bet some of that is just tear-jerking.
Oh, yeah, I cry. 2017, we were just shy of $60,000 for camp scholarships.
I think one of the things that kids like when you go to these camps yourself is they see the real deal in you, because you love to fish. You've been on Kentucky Afield. You love to hunt and fish.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
That's your thing.
It's my thing. It's what I like to do. I think I'll be like the crazy grandma out there hunting. I don't think that's ever going to change, right? I think I'll always hunt and fish.
You're crazy now, so you've got part of that already accomplished.
Yeah, but no, I really do. I think that'll always happen. But my hope is that, you know, I can get more people to come with me. You know, if you're going to be a grandmother, you first have to have children. Oh, yeah. Is that in your future? I don't think so. Okay, so you crazy aunt. Let's go with crazy aunt. Yeah. Crazy. Don't say cat lady. The crazy lady. But I can see you right now in my mind. You will always be there. I hope so. Until the day you die, promoting these things. It's important. And there's so many reasons that it's important, like health-wise, like what you eat, knowing where your meat comes from. Gosh, dude, I made the best dove recipe the other day. Tell me about it. Oh, gosh, it's so good. So you just breast the dove out like normal. Cut that meat off the breast. Perfect nugget size, right? Fill up a cast iron skillet with just a little bit of cooking oil. I don't know, maybe like a half inch. And you take that dove breast and you can, like, put seasoning on it. But I don't coat it in milk or eggs or anything. I just take the dry dove breast that's... Any seasoning? Dry seasoning and then Italian breadcrumbs. Mm-hmm. And you just pan fry it in that skillet. And, dude. It rocks. Oh, my gosh. I could eat 1,000,000 of them. My husband loves them, man, he loves them. Because, you know, I think sometimes it might be hard for, like, parents to find, like, good recipes that their kids will eat. Parents out there, I guarantee you, your kids will eat these dove nuggets. They're so good.
I like how you use the word dude. You've said dude 2 or 3 times now. Can you go through a whole conversation with somebody by just saying the word dude?
I think so.
Dude.
Yeah. I think that's normal for me because I have 3 brothers. So I say buddy a lot and dude, and I think it like weirds people out sometimes, but I'm like, I don't mean it weird. It's just, when you're the only girl of 3 brothers in the house.
But you truly can have a conversation with just that word.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I've heard it done. So you go to your website, KentuckyWildlife.com.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see 3 words: engage, educate, and preserve. I get the engage, I get the educate, but Rachel, when we come back from break, I want you to describe for me just what it is you're preserving. We're talking to the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and you're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. We're back on Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Baglin, and Rachel Crume is my guest this hour. She lives in Louisville. Her office is in the capital city of Frankfort, and we are learning more about how the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation works to benefit the great outdoors for all of us. Your web reads, engage, educate, and preserve. Give me an example.
The Fish and Wildlife Foundation does do a little bit of habitat work every year. So we work in partnership. For example, we have our deer tag drawing, and that deer tag hunt will take place at Shaker Village. And with part of the proceeds from that hunt, we will use quite a bit of that money, and it'll go to habitat improvement in that area. So, they'll plant native grasses. Then we also work with some of our area biologists, too, and they'll work on public ground, and we'll work with some grants from different organizations. They'll add in trees or warm season grasses or whatever's needed in that area to improve the habitat there.
So do you have a hand in this statewide?
Yeah, we try to. Any of the biologists that have a program that they want to see moving forward on their public land, then we'll work with them as best as we can to see that through.
We were talking about your board. To make this foundation successful, you pretty much have to know how to turn donated dollars into conservation education. Is that a tough sell when they're knocking on the doors or talking to bankers or whoever their successful business corporate partners are? Is that a tough sell?
I've had people say, well, isn't it hard, asking people for money? And I'm like, no, because I really believe in, what we're doing. And, what I found to be, the most interesting, I was on one of, the deer hunting groups on Facebook the other day, and there was a guy that posted a picture of him and his son in a blind, and he said, me and my son lost our hunting spot this year. Is there anybody out there that can open up private land so I can take him hunting? And Charlie, the amount of people
I bet
that came through.
Dozens.
So, yes. So I think that is my favorite part about this community that we're all involved in. If you hunt and fish, everybody wants to see it grow and be passed on. So if someone hunts and fishes or has a passion for that, or you want to learn about it, all you have to do is ask. That's all it takes, is just make it known that you have interest in our sport. And I feel like there's so many people that are willing to take you under their wing and teach you and see you grow. And so when you ask if it's hard, no, I don't think so at all.
My guess is there are people out there who would say, I have money and I would like to donate it to a good cause. Tax write-off, help somebody in the process. Do they just call you and say, hey, tell me more about what you're doing? I'm looking to maybe make some donations.
Sure, they can. Our number is 502-229-7578, or you can visit our website. It's KentuckyWildlife.com. We have a Facebook page. We have so many different programs going on. I'll give you a small list of some of our big accomplishments for last year. We help with the Green Wing program. That's done with DU, in partnership with DU.
Well, Green Wing, let's define all these in case somebody may not know. A green wing is
it's a duck. Yeah.
It's a duck.
Right.
And a Green Wing program means that you are duck hunting.
Right. So each camp, every single one of the Fish and Wildlife camps, when a kid goes, so I'm going to camp for a week, I go through so many different classes. So I do hunting, outdoor survival, nature, shotgun rifle, archery,
boating,
fishing, swimming,
first aid.
That's where the kids will get their hunter education card down there. But then for each of the subjects that they do, like they'll get a gun safety patch if they shoot well in shotgun and rifle, or they'll get like a nature patch if they do outdoor survival good and nature, swimming, boating, fishing, etc. And if they get all of those patches, so if they pass everything, they get an outdoorsman award. If they get the outdoorsman award, not many kids get that, but each camp does this the same way, then they're entered into a drawing to do like an adventure later in the year. So at Camp Wallace, it is a fishing trip. And I went down for that. It was so much fun. Oh, man, those kids, they caught the most fish. I mean, it was awesome.
About how many kids do you take part in this?
Maybe like anywhere from 10 to 20 per camp, something like that. Camp Webb is a dove hunt. I've never been down to that one yet. And then Camp Curry, they do a green wing hunt in partnership with DEO down there. And these kids get to go duck hunting. So I went down for that this past year. And the two little boys that we had in our blind with us, they both shot their first ducks. It was phenomenal. I've never had so much fun.
A thrill a minute.
They loved it.
Now, you are helping behind the scenes with this. Do you care who gets the credit?
No, I don't care. I just like going.
As long as they get to go and have fun and learn.
Yeah, so we like Green Wing, for example, my board agreed to buy like some waders the kids can use every year and that sort of thing. But it's all local guys that do most of the stuff. And like the camp directors. So they settle that all up together. And then like for Green Wing, you've got all of these great guys down there that are opening their private blinds up for kids to come hunt. So many of them. So
you have guides down there volunteering their services to kids.
Yeah, and private blind owners, too, and gun clubs and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's awesome. It's way nicer than a hunt I could afford.
Kids wouldn't otherwise ever, maybe, have this opportunity. At least not while they're a kid on their own. And
probably not that comfortable either. Now, I don't know if every blind was this comfortable, but the blind I sat in, I was in my waders, and I'm like, man, it's hot in
Some
here.
of them can be really nice.
And I look over,
refrigerators.
I'm like, why is it so warm? He's like, our seats are heated. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. I've never had that before.
A 20-degree blind is tolerable.
Yeah.
But it's nice to get in there, and you've got drinks and snacks and a little bit of warmth.
Yeah, it's great. But I feel like it's like small things like that we do all year long that add up. Like we did a fishing derby with the Fins program here, and that was through the Thornton family. Clark Thornton was a young man that passed away, and his family, he loved to fish, so his family wanted to do a memorial fishing derby for youth in Lexington, and we worked with them and did that, and that was wonderful. They had all kinds of kids there fishing. I think one boy can't remember where he came from, like Paris area. I could be completely wrong on that. But he caught a ton of fish that day. So.
Wonderful. That's a thrill. I remember that first day for me. Look at this fish.
Yeah. So events like that, they're happening all over the state anyways. Sportsman's clubs are putting them together, NWTF chapters, DU chapters. We just try to help when we can. And
you got a lot of partners out there.
Oh, yeah. A lot of great people that want to help.
Any way to count them? Would you say 50 more?
Oh, probably more than that.
Let's get back to your list of accomplishments from we're going through 2017.
2017. We do a trail run every year at Salado. It's a fundraiser for us.
A trail run?
Yeah.
I remember years ago you had the mud run.
Oh, yeah.
Were you part of that?
Yes.
Oh, that was a mess. So now that's evolved into a trail run.
Yeah.
And this is in Frankfort.
In Frankfort at the Salado Center. So at the Department of Fish and Wildlife headquarters here is a 4-mile trail run, and I've ran it a couple times. And I'm not a runner, and it's really hard, but it's really fun.
Does that attract people from counties around, states around, or is it local runners?
I think probably just counties around. That's usually held in March every year, and it's a fundraiser for us, but it's also cool because we get to invite people to Salado Center so they can see what we have going on back there and kind of branch out on the people that we're reaching to.
Just for people who may be listening, say, in Benton or Somerset, and they don't make it to Frankfort that often. Give me the minute message on what Salado really is.
Salado is a wildlife education facility.
I call it a local zoo, Kentucky Animal Zoo.
Yeah, so only native species at Salado. The coolest thing is the department oversees all wildlife in Kentucky. So if you go back to, the reason I say this, if you go back to Salado, you'll see turtles and snakes and all kinds of animals that aren't hunted in the state, but are still managed and, looked after by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. So bison, elk, deer, turkey, bobcats.
Bald eagles I've seen, too.
A bald eagle.
A bear.
The biggest black bear ever. He's so
It's a
big.
neat place. School kids love coming here. You can look in their parking lot. You'll see them from Pikeville. You'll see them from western Kentucky. It's amazing. I mean, it's a haul to come from some of the far-flung counties, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. Kids love it, but adults love it, too. I have friends that talk about the black bear all the time. He's so big, and they love him. Which, speaking of bears, another thing on our list was Fish and Wildlife Foundation put a new exhibit in back there this past year, the Be Bear Aware exhibit.
The Be Bear Aware exhibit.
Yeah, so it's cool. When you walk in the front door, it's in the main hallway on the right. But there's a bear there that's mounted. He was hit by a coal truck in Pike County. Huge. I can't remember how tall he is, but he's big. Like, really big. Like, you would really be scared if you walked up on him in the woods. But it talks to the general public because, we have black bears back in the state now. And we want people to know that, they're not a pet. Don't feed them. It just talks about, cohabitating with black bears in the state and what people need to do. And, it's really neat. So, and, the kids can walk in there and climb in what, a bear den would look like in Kentucky and see the little black bear stuffed animals, but then also, measure themselves against what, a real Kentucky bear would
They're big boys.
They're big boys.
So you're clearly educating more than just little kids there. And they will leave and say, I didn't know that. Well, I learned something new today.
And there's so much to learn about our wildlife in the state, too.
We need to leave it there for a moment while we take a break. Our fishing report is just ahead. Then we'll be back with more. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. Maglin back on Kentucky Afield Radio. If you would like to hear this show again or share the link on Facebook or email the link to a buddy, just go to our Facebook page. You will put Kentucky Afield Radio in the search box, and up we will pop. You can also find us as an iTunes podcast, and go to YouTube. You'll find our links there of our weekly shows. More just ahead with Rachel Crume and the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation. First up, our fishing report.
In western Kentucky, down at Kentucky and Barkley Lakes, the water temperatures this week have gotten cooler because of the weather, and crappie fishermen are starting to hit the lake. Right now, they've been out just fishing the ledges with jigs. A lot of crappie fishermen are going to pull in small crankbaits, like little bandit-type crankbaits. As far as bass fishing, they're still finding their fish out on the ledges. In the early mornings, you might find some up on the shallows or late in the evenings where they're chasing shad minnows. But your best bass bite is still out there in a little bit of deeper water, fishing the drops, the humps around those secondary channels. The tailwaters has been pretty hot too as far as striped bass, white bass, and catfish because of this stable weather. Well, this is Paul Reister, and I hope you find a good day to go fishing.
Kevin Fry with your Eastern Area Fisheries Report. October trout stocking begin late this month and will continue on into early November. You can check stream, tailwater, and lake stocking dates at the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife website. Catfishing reports have been improving with good action in shallow shoreline areas. Channel and flathead catfishing good in all area lakes with blue catfish mixed in the creel at Dewey and Fish Trap lakes. Crappie anglers starting to catch more keeper-sized fish in shallow water and upper lake areas. Largemouth bass reports have been mixed like crappie with some keeper fish deep and some shallow. If fishing upper lake areas, catches have been best shallow and around brush. If in lower lake areas and deeper, around 5 to 6 feet and with crankbaits.
This is Tom with your fishing report from the Northeast. Muskie appear to be working very well given the amount of boat traffic on the lake. Fish the main lake points and the ditches and channels on Zippo flats with quicker moving blade baits, and you should have a sighting or two of these muskie. I wanted to mention that the hydrilla outbreak has spread very significantly on Cave Run this year. It can be found at all the main lake boat ramps and has several of them choked back. It is extremely important for anglers to double-check their motors, boats, and trailers before launching your boat in a lake other than Cave Run. There's very little that can be done once this weed is intentionally or unintentionally brought to a new lake. Please remember, this is a noxious weed that can have detriments to your fish populations. It is not something we want to move around, so do your part and try to keep it contained. Check your boats. That should do it for us. Wherever you go, good luck and stay safe.
I have never seen anything like this.
I can't believe I waited so long.
What will you say?
My heart was pounding.
This is Kentucky. It's deer season, and it's outstanding. 43 Boone and Crockett deer last year. Modern gun season opens November 11th, with archery season open now.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I can't believe I made the shot.
Get your license and deer permit now, and take aim on the thrill at fw.ky.gov.
You know our patch, but there are some things about the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife you may have never dreamed. For a young mind, every day is an adventure. In schools and in summer camps, we reach 70,000 kids every year, keeping the world a hands-on, minds-on, feet-wet place where nature and knowledge can take root. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, in so many ways, at work in the outdoors to bring out the best in you. fw.ky.gov.
We're back on Kentucky Afield Radio. We're in our second half hour. My name is Charlie Baglin. Rachel Crume is my guest. She is the Executive Director of the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Not the Department of Fish and Wildlife. She's not the commissioner. She is the Executive Director of the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation. That is a charity that supports conservation and nature education for Kentucky kids. You see evidence of this at Fish and Wildlife conservation camps. Maybe you went yourself. Maybe your son or daughter did. Camp Curry, Camp Webb, they sound familiar. Camp Earl Wallace. Plus, this foundation has a pronounced presence at the Salado Wildlife Education Center, and that's in Frankfort. Rachel, what do you like best? My favorite thing is the bobcat.
If I had to pick, my favorite thing, it's the cottonmouth. And only because I'm terrified of it.
Do you think that even though there's a piece of glass between you and that snake, that one day you'll become at peace with being around it?
No, it's really scary looking.
You are facing your fears.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to be really terrified of snakes. The staff back there has educated me a lot. They're great. I'll actually touch them and hold them sometimes now.
Snakes are good things to have around your house.
Yeah.
They really will. They'll keep down the mice and the little vermin, little things that you may not want around your house, but that's what they're doing. They're eating those. Other great things that you have had a hand in for kids of this state.
I think if we were staying on Salado, we updated the Dr. Salado exhibit.
At Dare County, Columbia, Kentucky. It's not just Salado, but it's Dr. James Salado, a family medical doctor there.
Yes.
And he was also on the commission. What's the story?
He was commission member, big waterfowl hunter. We were down at the Columbia Sports Show this year. We set up a booth down there, and so it was, that was his district. So I talked to a lot of people that was their family doctor.
Yeah.
Or that was my family doctor, but not only was it my family doctor, he was the first guy that ever took me hunting, and he's the reason that I hunt today. You see that and you're like, wow, it's really special. So the League of Kentucky Sportsmen's group for that area, they bought 2 of his bird guns. It's 2 Brownings. So we have them on exhibit now. When
you hear the word Salado, a lot of people now will simply attach that name to the Wildlife Education Center in Kentucky's capital city. And so they think Salado, they think of this little Kentucky-like zoo area. But when you go to Adair County and you look out and you see the Salado, the library or maybe a convention center, it's sprawled across the side of a building. It's that's the same Salado.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was definitely beloved in that area.
So Jim Salado, he was one of those commission members that absolutely loved education and conservation education. If he were here, he'd give you the biggest hug.
Oh,
you know he would.
I hope so. I mean, definitely look up to everything he did for his community, and pretty special when you can go to a sportsman show and you have a grown man say, he's the reason that I hunt to this day. I mean, to me, I don't think there's a bigger honor that you can give someone.
some of the things that you are doing specifically for the children of this state. And we'll focus on, for a minute, on these 3 camps. Camp John Curry, which is out on Kentucky Lake. A lot of kids go there, and they love it.
Yep.
You're increasing the size of the dining hall?
The old dining hall's gone. You know, they demoed that earlier this year.
So they're building afresh.
They are building a new dining hall. So, you know, we do a ton with camp scholarship programs, which are great. But also all of our camps have been going on for a long time. So, like, Curry's been since the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's time for a lot of those buildings to be updated. They were in, like, dire need of it. So Camp Curry is getting a facelift this year with their dining hall, which we're super pumped about.
You have something in there called a crappie wall. Where's that play in?
It is. So a crappie wall, it's just a way for people to continue to support projects that we have going on at Camp Curry. So all the money will be allocated for Curry in the future. We're hoping we can raise enough money off our crappie wall for a big project down there, too. It'll showcase people that have sponsored in the area. So you can buy a different size crappie silhouette out of metal, and we'll engrave it, and then it'll go in the new dining hall.
And so contributors would buy these and put them on the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how that works?
They just make a donation, and then we take care of the crappie for them, and hang them up.
Sort of represent their level of
sponsorship.
Participation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I chose crappie because Kentucky Lake is my favorite crappie fishing lake.
You like to eat crappie. What's cooking down at Camp Earl Wallace on Lake Cumberland?
So Camp Wallace is still going strong. We have some big plans for Wallace.
Can you do anything to level out that hill that they have to climb from the lake all the way up back up to camp?
No, I don't think so.
That's a haul.
Sharon and I actually worked at Wallace one week this summer. So we had a contest with all the educators, so all the conservation educators that work at camp. And Wallace was our winner this year. We got to volunteer and work down there for a week. Charlie, it was awesome. I mean, how special. I, came home, and I was like a giddy kid. I couldn't wait to tell Scott about,
You're a kid again.
All the stuff I got to do, which I taught archery down there, which was great. I had so much fun. Just hearing the kids talk and how funny they are. And
so you are making improvements down there to the tune. Did I hear you mention a rifle range?
Yeah, so we still have a couple big projects that we're wanting to see happen at Wallace. We really would like to update the rifle range. So we've written a couple grants for that, and if anybody would like to offer any support or help for that project, that'd be great. But we'd like to update the rifle range and then probably do something with definitely their dining hall again down there too. Just unfortunately, we can't do two huge projects at the same time. So
now these dining halls, they may sound like simple projects, but that's $250,000, isn't it?
Camp Curry's was actually $3 million total.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
And your contribution towards that was $250,000?
Oh, yes, $250,000. Yes, sir. So we have storage underneath, and you're talking about a full commercial kitchen.
It's more than just a room with some tables and chairs.
Yeah.
You're talking about the kitchen.
Yeah,
the whole bit. The walk-in freezers and all that.
Right. At Camp Curry, too, included in that is the canteen area. So all of our camps have a canteen area where kids can buy snacks during certain times of the day or a T-shirt or whatever else. It's really cool because it's affordable. So you're not sending your kids with $100 and they come back with a T-shirt or whatever. It's $5 for a T-shirt down there. So they make it so where the kids can do that sort of thing. So
there's a story that's going to go. I'm retiring end of the year, but there's a story that's probably going to be told somewhere. And I might as well tell it now because I want to try to remember exactly. So when I tell it, you can help me tell it honestly and accurately.
Okay.
Now, you weren't there, but I went down there many years ago, this back in the 90s, and I had commented to somebody that in the walk-in refrigerator, there was what looked to me like pink cake, almost as if it were dessert. And it wasn't dessert. It was more crappie bait or carp bait. It was fish bait.
Probably catfish. Catfish or carp or something like that.
And it didn't taste that bad. Not that I had much of it, just a little bit. And I said, then maybe, it wasn't iced. And Dick and Mabel Hudson were living down there at the time. I actually worked the camp superintendent, the chief cook, and bottle washer. And I ate some of that. Well, heck, I didn't know. I was hungry. I had no idea, but the next day I'd commented to somebody and said, "That's fish bait."
Okay, so I know it wasn't probably the nasty catfish bait that some of my brother and some of his buddies did, but Charlie gosh, that reminds me of a story. I can remember being a little kid. My brothers were so mean to me. They really were terrible, okay? But they weren't like, I mean, obviously, we're all super tight now, but I can remember being at a friend of ours' house, and they gave me what I thought was like beef jerky. They were like, here, have some beef jerky.
What was it?
A dog treat.
A dog treat?
Yeah, so here I am, like this little kid eating dog food, and they all think it's like the funniest thing ever.
Well, they were laughing, but you weren't.
No, I cried.
Always question, what's
After
in
they
that?
were like told me like I was eating a dog treat, I was like, really? Thanks a lot. So anyways.
You can say, well, it tastes like the beef jerky you make. How am I supposed to know?
Yeah. Oh, it's gross.
Okay. Camp Robert C. Webb, Grayson, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Another great camp. Is that the one they call the absolute largest conservation camp on God's green earth?
I'm not sure about that.
It's big.
It's big.
Yeah. They have to allow extra time to get from activity to activity because of it's so big.
I spent Venture Camp down there this weekend, which is for older kids that have been to regular camps before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was down there for a week for that, and then I went for a weekend a couple weekends there. I participated in a mentor turkey hunt earlier this year, and then we did the Becoming Outdoors Woman weekend. And I took our boat down and fished, and it's a really nice camp.
Could you pay for a shuttle system just to move the students around?
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
You know what, though? It's good for the kids to get out and walk and get some exercise and stuff.
They get it there.
Yeah, but I don't know how to drive.
You drive. As you sneak around and drive. What improvements are needed at Camp Webb that you can help with?
We've done quite a bit at Camp Webb already. They got a new fish dock. The department put a new fish dock in, and we put a structure on that for them. We did a new roof on their cafeteria. So I feel like Camp Webb is in pretty good shape. So each camp usually has around 200 kids there a week, and they got to house all them. Plus, they got to feed them all, so you have to have a big cafeteria. Plus, you have all your staff down there, educators and counselors. It's a lot of people, so there's a lot of buildings. So you can imagine, like, Charlie, you know how much work that you do on your house or whatever in a year's time. Mm-hmm. Now imagine having 10 to 15 of those buildings.
Right.
And, it's just a lot to keep up with. But we knew that there was, like, a huge need for capital construction projects at the camps. Camp Wallace changed my life. Yeah. I want to make a difference in kids' lives. And
kids are the future, Rachel. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
None of this is cheap. You couldn't do it without partners. But one thing I know that you do is you have some pretty cool raffles, such as a commissioned elk tag, a deer hunt at Shaker Village. It's got the right habitat for some really big deer in there.
Yeah, it has been hunted much, so we've been doing that hunt out there for a few years now.
She'll put some things out there that are really cool that people will want, like that $10,000 backyard makeover from a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That just ties right into the TV shows that are about how to redo your home and make it better.
And I think our deer and our elk hunt are like pretty much staples for what we do. There's a ton of different fundraisers we're doing, but I think the deer and the elk hunt are pretty much staples.
We'll be back with our final few with the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation. You are listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. We're back on Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Baglin. Rachel Crume is in. She is our guest this hour. We've been talking at length about the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Their focus is Kentucky kids. Any other big fundraisers coming up, let's say, in the foreseeable future?
Well, you can be on the lookout for our Salado fundraiser. It's the Salado Sampler, usually the first Saturday in June of every year.
What is it you're sampling?
Everything. So Kentucky Proud Food will also have beer, bourbon, and wine. It's just an adult event at the Salado Center, and it's where you get to see Salado after hours. So, we'll have volunteers are going around with different animals, and you get to learn. So,
all of these can be found on your website?
Yes, if you go to KentuckyWildlife.com.
One thing that we will see on the roads today, that's one of the fanciest license plates out there, and it's your plate.
Yes.
The smallmouth bass, it is a nice plate.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Hill painted that.
We worked with D.L. Hayes, so the gentleman that caught that bass. If you see it driving down the road, that's a great way to support us. Your birthday month, when you go to pay for your car registration or whatnot, just tell them you'd like a bass plate. That $10 adds up really fast. You know, I mean, we do a lot of good work with that money.
People will see that plate, and if they think it supports anything at all, they might think it supports stocking fish in the state, for all that matter.
Sure.
But it's for education purposes.
Education purposes, yes.
A lot of people buy the fish plate simply because they like the fish plate.
It's really pretty.
They don't really know what it supports, so maybe they don't care.
Yeah.
But I like the fish. I want the fish plate.
Yeah, D.L. Hayes, gosh, what a character. I got to meet him a couple times. He's a great guy and really funny. And, you know, that wasn't just like a lucky fish he caught.
David L. Hayes. Mm-hmm. He caught that back in 1955, I'm thinking.
I can't remember.
Smallmouth, that was at Dale Hollow?
Yeah, Dale Hollow.
So that commemorates the world record. Not state record, but the world record smallmouth bass.
So it's so big. But my favorite part of like meeting him and talking to him was it wasn't just like a lucky thing. He took trips to Dale Hollow to fish for a smallmouth all the time. You know.
He's the real deal.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a lucky fisherman that day.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it's neat. You know, and, like, nothing against people that get lucky, because Lord knows we all need luck sometimes. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I just like that. I was like, man, that's cool.
So to buy this plate, you go to your county clerk's office. What's it cost above your typical registration?
$10.
That's all.
That's it.
And so that $10 will go into the Fish and Wildlife Foundation coffers and helps kids all over the state.
Helps the kids all over the state, and that money's either spent last year, it was all spent on camp scholarships. This year we'll probably put quite a bit of that money into capital construction projects at camp, but it has to do with conservation education, and it's spent in Kentucky. It's not funding programs outside of our state or anything like that. It all stays here.
That has to be the easiest way to contribute, is to buy a license plate. I know there are several dozen plates out there. And if you don't want to take the time to write a check and go to the website and just buy the plate, and you've made a contribution. Mm-hmm. And plus, you got a pretty cool tag on your car.
Yeah, I think they're beautiful. Another program that we did with Rick, if any of you guys out there are getting ready to buy greeting cards, Rick's artwork is unbelievable. So we picked some of all of our favorites, and we did greeting cards. So they're note cards, but they're like 5x7 size. So last year I sent them out for Christmas cards. You can do the same, but they're for sale on our website, and they're beautiful.
They're blank inside. Mm-hmm. Write your own inscription.
Yes, I did them for Christmas cards last year, but I also use them for thank you cards, birthday cards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever you want.
Winter scenes, good for Christmas?
Perfect for Christmas. There's an elk, a fox squirrel, a woodcock.
So go on KentuckyWildlife.com.
At KentuckyWildlife.com. And, you'll see it there.
Your enthusiasm is through the roof, and it's paying off.
I don't know about that.
We're looking toward the year's end. Any good ways to help as the year closes?
You know, there's a lot of ways that you can help, and some that don't cost any money at all. But if you follow us on Facebook or check out our website, our greeting cards are awesome. So you buy those, you share a message, our message is on the back of those. Our camp scholarship program is always going on, and we're always looking for funding for that. So if you visit our website there, you can make a general donation of however much or little you like, or you can actually pick a letter and pick a child that you want to send to camp based on what their letter says. Mm-hmm. Always buy a bass plate. So keep in mind, it's the first of the year. Your birthday is going to happen sometime. When you go to your county clerk's office, put a bass plate on the back of your car. You know, we do like Kroger community rewards. So all that stuff we post on our Facebook page as much as possible. So just follow us. If you want to volunteer, give us a call. But I think the most important thing is take someone outside and get them hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
I believe in everything we do and fundraising and all that stuff. But just take someone. Or go try something new. Get outside of your comfort zone. Cook a new dish, wild game. Just do something.
You really could change somebody's life.
Absolutely.
Make them see the outdoors for something in a way they've never had before.
There's no question. We're meant to have that hunter/gatherer. I just feel like it's in us all. I don't know. There's like a peace that you find in the field and a good outlook on life and everything. And I just feel like the best gift that you can give yourself or anyone else is to get them involved somehow. Somehow. You can be mushroom hunting, whatever.
Yeah. I appreciate so much coming on talking about the Fish and Wildlife Foundation here in Kentucky.
Thanks for having me,
Sounds like you're doing great work for kids. We appreciate it.
doing our best, and we appreciate everybody that's helped us, and we're looking forward to future projects.
And speaking of the future, there is very little of it left for me and this Kentucky Afield radio program. I mentioned it a little while ago in the show, but the official deal is, as of December 31st, I plan on retiring, which will bring to a close 37 fun-filled years of radio and television. 37. And as for this show, Kentucky Afield Radio, the thinking is it could continue in some fashion, but as a podcast. But the on-air show that you're hearing now on your hometown stations is ending. And this will be odd for me, because not only do I host the show and produce the show, but I listen to the show every weekend. The guests are remarkable, they're motivating people. It has definitely been my privilege to chat with them every week about the things we all love about the outdoors and our Kentucky way of life. Meanwhile, we have a couple of months left and some good shows in the offing, and something special, I'm sure, for the holidays, as always. Meanwhile, we are out of time. This is Charlie Baglin inviting you to join us in a week, and we'll go inside, outdoors again, here on Kentucky Afield Radio.